Hello and welcome to the GLHF YouTube channel. Today we are talking about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I'm your host Dave Aubrey and I'm here with the big bold as well, Kirk McKeon. How you doing?
I'm alright. How are you? Good?
Yeah, feeling good, yeah.
Are you feeling suicidal?
Not today, luckily. Okay, so you've been playing the game, I've been playing the game. First impressions, it's, could be better.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a video game.
Yep.
It's not the video game I expected from Rocksteady. Like, I don't think it's the career-ending disaster that people kind of assumed it was going to be, but I also don't think it's particularly great either.
Yeah, I feel like that intro is just so strong and so compelling, and then everything past it isn't so much from what I've seen so far. First impressions, of course, but yeah, that intro is like, it's linear, it's cinematic. The game looks great. The game and it feels great to run around, use your attacks and abilities. And in the early section, that's all working super well. But then as soon as you get into like the main combat and you're up against like legions of little purple alien dudes, it just doesn't feel super responsive. Every time I'm playing, I'm thinking, man, remember the parry in Arkham Asylum and City and Knight and how amazing that felt at the time?
Yeah, because Rocksteady kind of revolutionized that genre in a way. Like, it kind of made it more accessible, because character action games, they're quite notorious for like having really complex combos and like juggles and all that sort of thing. Whereas Knight was just about like timing, really. It was more of a rhythm action game almost. You see a flash, you press the counter button. When they're not flashing, you press the attack button. You know, you can mix it with gadgets and stuff. But you know, it wasn't that complex, but there were certain things you could do. There was a kind of depth to it, but I feel like that doesn't really exist here. You just shoot the purple aliens. Sometimes it's got its own version of a counter, where you do like a counter bullet when you see a flash, but that just stops an animation. It's kind of an interrupt the enemy attack. Beyond that, there's just like status effects and like kill them moves, you know, suicide strike, which is just I'll do loads of big damage, and then there's an area of effect attack. But the real issue is you've got 4 players here potentially, and there's no, at least at this point in the game, there's no synergy between the characters that I'm aware of. Like, maybe you could freeze them and then I could crack them, but like, that's so simple. Like, it's so basic.
And the game is definitely designed for you to be able to do that all independently.
Yeah, and I mean, we had more fun when I was playing with you because we were having a laugh, like, because it's a co-op game and we're talking. But like, it feels the same when you're playing solo. Like, the only thing about solo, I noticed this last night and wrote it in my notes actually, is when you've got their mission types, right, where it's like, oh, you can only damage an enemy a certain way. Now, I don't like those anyway, because it's just like, here's the same mission, but you can only hurt them with grenades or whatever. So then you've got to throw grenades, then you've got to like counter them to harvest grenades from them to throw more grenades. And it's fine, it's whatever, but when you're playing on your own, the AI doesn't understand that. So the AI is just shooting them.
Oh no.
And then you're like, well, I'll just do it all on my own then, shall I?
I never considered that even for a second, but you know what? Yeah, that's a pretty big issue, honestly. Okay, all right. People keep saying it has really good traversal, and you know, it does.
It does have good traversal, but I think you said this in a chat we were having yesterday. It feels like almost like a band-aid for like the connecting the open world bits together, and the open world actively works against this game. Like, it looks great, but it feels a bit like a museum almost. It doesn't feel like a real city to me. It doesn't come across like a real city because it's just like, I don't know, there's something about the verticality of it that just, it feels like it's built for guys to fly around in, not to walk around in, you know?
Sure.
So it feels like a showroom almost, or something. Very sterile and a bit strange. Yeah. And then it means all your fights are just on rooftops, basically. You're just fighting dudes on rooftops all the time. Like we were saying earlier, there's that Batman bit early on. You weren't a big fan of it, but it's linear and it's like almost a horror game sequence where Batman's like popping out of vents and attacking your squad and stuff, and I thought it was quite cool. But it's strong because it's linear to me, and the game as a whole would have been better if it was linear, because they could have actually had level design then. Whereas there's no level design now. You just, we'll choose this rooftop for a fight. We'll drop a thing in on this rooftop, and you have to defend this thing this time. And then you're defending a plant on the street, and there's other plants on other rooftops, and it's like there's no variety because of that.
Yeah, I completely understand. In the Batman section, like I feel like the main reason I didn't like it was just because it wasn't very interactive. You essentially walked from point to point as each member of the team, as like Batman took them out, and it was like Batman has like what is it? The foam, the explosive foam that he has in the Arkham games, and he draws a little bat symbol with it, and that blows up. And like the idea of like coming at it as like you're the bad guy in an Arkham game facing Batman is really, really fun. And I really like it. I just wish it was more interactive, because this is like shortly after it tutorializes all these crazy climbing abilities, jumping abilities, and like the area you're in is actually like it's vertical. There's quite a lot of height above you, but you can't jump, you can't climb. That's all taken away from you because it would ruin the Batman experience. Which, for me, I don't like that aspect, but God, it really was the best bit so far. And like, I'm doing these missions with you, and I honestly kind of feel like, hey, maybe if we were running through a corridor and we had like more interesting environments, segmented areas, like fight enemies and like things to interact with, maybe that would break it up more. But right now it feels like you just hop around an area for like 2 minutes shooting guys, and then you go to the next area and hop around shooting guys for 2 minutes.
Yeah, and that doesn't even change really when you're fighting the metahumans. I went up against the Flash last night, which is the first like main boss, and you just shoot him. You just shoot him. You do the counter shoot, and then he slows down for a bit. His shield goes, and you shoot him, and then at the end he's like stunned, and he's in this. He gets pulled to an area where the cutscene is going to play, obviously, and he's just there. And I shot him, and then it just switched the cutscene. He's dead. I'm like, whoa, that was anticlimactic.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually wondering how that was going to work out, because like when they introduced the Flash, there's a section where Deadshot tries to shoot him from a while away, and of course the Flash like appears behind him instantly.
They get some tech basically that makes him a bit slower.
Oh,
that's the conceit. And also the thing is just before this happens, Lex Luthor uses the tech on him, and it blows him like through a bus, and everyone shoots him, but he like somehow dodges it all, and then appears behind Lex Luthor, spoilers, and rips Lex Luthor's heart out in like half a heartbeat. But why doesn't he just do that to all of you? Like, it feels like they're just like, I don't know, they don't suspend your disbelief enough, you know? Like, you just feel like these people could just blink and kill you if they wanted to, and yet you got an AR and you're just finishing them off. Like, how many fucking ARs as these guys come up against before, you know?
Yeah, no, I absolutely do. And, again, from the early Batman scene, I thought the exact same thing, because, like, that scene is introduced by, like, Harley being like, Batman doesn't kill people, and then you see Batman drop a corpse in front of you. And then, like, when he hunts each character down, he uses a non-lethal strike, interestingly enough. And yeah, I saw that, like, it feels like they really want to build up the Justice League characters to make them imposing and threatening, but then they just don't quite seem to know how to follow through with that fully. It's almost like the instead of having them be tyrannical, they're almost playing with the Suicide Squad, because they see them as so little and so lesser. It's like they don't want to busy themselves with them too much, but also they seem to spend all their time with them instead of just killing them off.
Yeah, and also that would make sense if it weren't for the fact that they're harvesting everyone, like even little civilians that are nothing, yeah? And Batman spends a lot of his time in this game. I think it's quite cool. He's like Azrael in the Batman games here. He's watching you from rooftops and stuff while you're moving about, which is cool, but it's so not Batman. Like, he does toy with people, but not to this extent. Like, he wouldn't be like, I'll get them later. I know they keep killing off my allies and that, but, I'll get to them in a bit. He'd just be like, no, I've got a plan. I'm going to wrap them up, and I don't have an issue with, like, the concept of the story. I thought it was quite an interesting concept, flipping the bad versus good around and making you kill the Justice League, because it's going to be some kind of alternate dimension bollocks and everyone's going to be alive at the end of it anyway. Like, none of it matters, because it's not real life, guys. Batman isn't real. Like, it doesn't matter.
Like that.
It's interesting to see these characters like pitted against each other in this way, but like you say, it's just strange how many like conceits they have to do to make it work, and yeah, it doesn't track for me.
Yeah, I understand, and I feel at this point, obviously we haven't played through the entire game, we don't know, but at this point, unless it turns out that Batman was pretending to be Brainiac all along, and that's why he keeps having like radio chats, which you can overhear in game, and the radio chats are like, "These people are low priority, Harley Quinn, King Shark, Deadshot." He's pretty much regularly saying that, like, yeah, they're out there causing shit, but they're not a big problem for us right now. And I don't know, unless he's doing that on purpose because he's like secretly not Brainiac, then I don't understand what's going on. But then you'd have to ask why he killed those people.
I was gonna say, yeah, if he's not Brainiac, why is he throwing batarangs into cops' necks? You know?
Yeah,
Seems a bit out of sorts for him.
Either way, it feels like the actual actions of our antagonists here don't fully add up. But like,
I will say, because I feel like we've been very, very negative so far. I would like to call out some positive things. Like the writing is good. Like other than those like big picture things, like the dialogue writing's really snappy and fun. Like it's made me laugh a few times. There's a bit where Wonder Woman pins down Boomer and Harley says, "Step on me next," and that was really good. There's a lot of stuff like that. And King Shark's really good. Boomer's funny as hell. I think there's some really good character writing in it. It's just, like you say, the big picture narrative is the issue, rather than the moment-to-moment like dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, like for me, the writing so far has definitely been like, it's sensible chuckle magazine. You know, I'm smiling. I'm like, it can't really. It can't pull much more of that than that out of me. I would love to like proper have a belly laugh and fingers crossed that comes. But I do agree that the character writing, like the cast feels distinct and like Boomerang, etc., acts unlike most other Marvel antagonists or heroes. Or
I will
DC
say it's very James Gunn, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Like King Shark is basically Drax. Like, he's quite smart, but he doesn't really understand how humans communicate. Like, he doesn't understand sarcasm and things like that.
Oh no, Boomerang's Rocket Raccoon.
Boomerang is Rocket Raccoon, you're right, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very Guardians, isn't it?
Yeah.
I will say the thing that's had us laughing the most is when you're inside a friendly area, you can't shoot. But if you do shoot, you electrocute your own head. So me and you are just walking around zapping our own heads, which... That's the most fun I've had in that game, to be honest.
Yeah, I do like that. Obviously, like in terms of lore, for anyone that doesn't know, it's like you've been implanted with a bomb, and that's why the Suicide Squad are being so like obedient. And yeah, if you're in a home base with all the other quote unquote good people, and you're trying to attack them, yeah, you get a little electric shock instead, which is quite fun. Also, the scene where Penguin gets an electric shock, again, quite fun. Did enjoy it. Did have fun. But yeah.
Should we talk about bugs before we end?
I was gonna say, did you wanna? Yeah.
So the first one we've had a lot is we're about what 10-12 hours in maybe I'd say, and we are getting tutorials still to double jump constantly. After every mission it's like double jump, and then you double jump and it's like here's how to slide, and by the way the sliding doesn't work properly, so you have to slide, you have to click L3 as you land. But you have to click it loads of times because the window to trigger it is so small. So you're just jumping and tapping the hell out of L3. And also, you sometimes get a prompt to sprint by holding X, which only actually works on one of the characters, by the way, which is very bizarre. We also had a bug where we cleared out the enemies around a compound, and then the trigger to the next bit of the mission just didn't work. So we had to leave the mission area 3 times each to die to start again, which was very annoying. And because of the weird level design, we didn't actually know initially whether it was a bug or we were just at the wrong part of the building. We were at the right part of the building. It was just a bug. But yeah, the buildings, no human has ever been in them buildings. It doesn't feel like it's built for real people at all.
To be fair, I'm personally not against the concept of like designing video game worlds purely to be video game worlds, but yeah, there's even Gotham Knights, probably because in Gotham Knights you had to like be on the like bat cycle or whatever all the time. There was like, it made sense. The overworld layout made sense. In this, it doesn't need to make sense because you're just going to climb over the top of it and swing past. Like, there is no reason to ever be on the ground unless you see an enemy down there. Like, I feel like that takes you out and it makes the fact that you're in this big open world city even more pointless. But yeah, that. We basically already covered that. And on the bug thing, yeah, you basically covered everything I wanted to say. We were really confused about the Captain Boomerang tutorial for a while, of course, because it only says like hold X to sprint, but you also need to be holding R1 or pressing R1.
Yeah, and also X is jump.
Yeah.
So it's like it's awkward anyway.
And on the slide thing, I really feel like if you could just hold a button when you land to slide instead of having to like do this super precise tap.
Yeah, and also because each of the 4 characters has a different traversal method, they've tried to make it seem more distinct by changing the controls between them, which is fine. But then you've got like for King Shark and Harley Quinn, they both have a ground slam move, but the ground slam is on a different button for each character, isn't it? Which is very, very weird. I think
again it's L3 for Harley and then L1 for Shark, and that should have been some sort of consistency around that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't finished yet, so I've not fully made my mind up, but overall, it's fine. It's just got a lot of issues. It feels like a game to me that has changed direction at least 4 or 5 times during the 9 years or whatever it's been in development for. Like, I feel like they've gone, oh shit, the game needs to come out now. Let's just make a load of this content around these story missions that we've got just to pad it out. Because a lot of it just feels like padding to me.
Yeah, when we were playing, you were getting the most score. You were getting the highest scores, and therefore you were the party leader and leading the way, because you are higher level than me. And we were like, "Yep, that's a main mission. Let's go." And I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell because it was just another location, and we just shot another bunch of dudes, and I couldn't tell the difference between the main missions and the side missions unless an actual Justice League member was there.
Yeah, the only difference is on the map they say main mission. It's still hold an area. That's all the missions are, just hold an area. I got a new mission type last night in one of the main missions, which was escort a vehicle, but you're still holding an area. It's just a moving area this time.
Okay. You know, is it an on the ground vehicle or does it fly through the air?
It's on the ground, yeah.
Ooh,
but
wow.
It's not. Spoilers, I can't say, but it's not in the normal city, I'll say.
Okay, so you're still not actually getting pulled down to the ground on the city, even with that.
Not the normal city.
Not the normal one. All right. That does leave me some intrigue. That does make me interested. But yeah, I think that's everything, huh? You got anything else you want to say about Suicide Squad?
No.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much for listening to GLHF chats about Suicide Squad. Bye.